Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I am at Monetize Talks. I am at the 13th annual, or I should say annual. He's doing it monthly. David Rivero's been hosting this event in Beverly Hills, and my guest today is Nicholas Black. Nicholas, welcome to the show. How's it going? All right, so when David sends me a guest, he's like, all right, you got to have this guy on the show. I understand you're a cryptocurrency and AI expert. I want to get into cryptocurrency, definitely get some of your views on it. But before we do, have you been to one of these events before?
This is the first time for me.
Talk about your experience, man.
I liked it. I think it's cool when you have a diverse range of people and you hear how people are trying to make it or have made it.
Yeah.
You know, the pitfalls and the little peaks and valleys along the way. I think it's really good.
Yeah. So I wasn't speaking today, so I'm okay in saying this. What was one of your favorite moments from the speakers?
Favorite moments. I did like, there was a dentist.
Yeah. She was amazing. I had her on the show. Yes.
I liked that she fought against her early desire to partner up with the guy that she was a partner, and she just finally did her own thing, and that ended up making her ultimately much more successful.
So David told me that you're the guy for cryptocurrency. Like talk to me. How'd you get involved in the industry originally?
So I come from a background in gold. I was a gold miner. Well, in a sense, we have a refinery in Texas, and we do about 300 or 400 million a year in gold refining. So cash for gold, pawn shops, all this kind of stuff. They send us their jewelry, we melt it, we final refine it. So we bring it all the way back to pure metal. And then we sell those bars like to China or to the Saudis or to LBMA bars, the 400-ounce bars. So this is just a wash, rinse, and repeat business. It's like God money, old school, like salt of the earth type stuff, right? Alchemy.
Yeah.
My brother was at the same time one of the early Bitcoin miners in 2009. And so he was doing it out of the house, like where we grew up.
Yeah, you're right.
Mining Bitcoin.
2009, that's early.
That is the beginning.
That is January
3rd.
Yeah,
was day one.
I got a story for you on that one. I just got to get out, man. I've been holding it in. So around that time, I'm starting in, and some of my listeners, my long-term listeners know this one, but I don't tell it often. So I'm got my first brokerage firm job. I have my Series 6 and all that other good stuff. And I worked a late shift, and I remember working a late shift like in Japan. So Japan's calling in, whatever. And so we'd get these people that would call sometimes that would be, let's just say, not your typical investor. And the problem is, and they always want to talk about cryptocurrency. So I missed that early boat for a very specific reason. That and it's no longer like this, but that same time, you probably don't remember this. If you do, I'll laugh. But the Iraqi dinar and all that was going.
Oh, yeah.
That exact.
So they're going to reprice it.
The Iraqi dinar and cryptocurrency people that would call in at my particular office, at my particular thing, were the same people. And I was so I missed I linked them, and I was like, oh no, this is nothing. Like the people that are into this, like they're the Iraqi dinar people. Like I'm like, they're all psyched.
They're like fringe conspiracy.
Ever since then, and as it got further and further, once I read about it, once I learned what it is, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like if I would have did my research, if I would have made a decision for myself like I'd done on every other investment in the past, whole different scenario. What stuck out to you in those early days to where you thought, like, if you can recall, I know it's a while ago, but like to where you're like, this might have legs. Like maybe you didn't know what it's going to be today, but at least it's worth your attention.
My brother was bringing it up to me, and it wasn't interesting to me. I was like, it's not real money. You can't hold it.
You had a brother that was like gnawing at, damn, that lucky.
I think 2,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. So whatever, right? He kept saying like, well, you can't hold the money in your bank account until you cash out. And I was like, well, that is a good point, but it still didn't make sense to me until 2014. My buddies and I, we went to a hackathon. And we built, we thought crypto was interesting, at least technically, not enough to invest, but technically it was interesting. So we,
the thesis, the paper.
Yeah. So at the hackathon, we created an ETF that had the top 50, and we converted that into an Ethereum-based token where you could, anyway, long story short, that was our idea. This was before a lot of things had happened and Ethereum wasn't flushed out. There wasn't really solidity. We couldn't really do anything, but it was this cool idea of this ET. Anyway, the next week, the Mt. Gox hack happened where, 850,000 Bitcoin went away. And that exchange went down, and Bitcoin crashed and immediately came back. And that's when my buddy and I thought, if that can't beat Bitcoin,
Yeah.
nothing's going to beat it.
Wow. And so now fast forward to today. Like, is it being represented right? Are the conversations happening today? Like talk to me about your opinion on it today and what's going on in the industry.
I think there's a bunch of arguments that kind of tell the story, and I think it's much simpler than all of these weird. You have the Michael Saylors that are like,
Yeah.
but spend all your money, take your kidneys, and sell it, buy
Yeah.
Bitcoin, and that's one way of doing life.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are like,
Like Corey said, it's one way of doing life. I'll take that.
that's one way. And then you have the people that are like, I'm only buying Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I believe in it, anti-government. And that's another way.
Yeah.
And I think Bitcoin is a hedge against stupidity.
Hmm.
And I mean that governments, typically bureaucracies, the bigger they get, the kind of slower and less smart they become.
Yeah.
And governments print money, and they print it through lending, through credit creation, through free cash, through stimulus, but there's a bunch of ways governments create money out of thin air by stealing from next year to finance the right now. And they don't ever solve it. Like, currencies always crash because they always do this. Everybody's an eventual Venezuela, Weimar Republic, Zimbabwe in the making, right?
Yeah.
It's just how fast do you get there?
Yeah.
And so because I think that stupidity, that bureaucratic stupidity when managing money will continue forever, or at least until AI takes over. So maybe only 5 or 6 more years.
Okay.
But in this time, that will not change. Governments will print and make into existence money. And if they do that, then a currency like Bitcoin with a belief system around it, because it's partly tech and partly religion.
Yes.
Religions are hard to stomp out, as we've learned.
We have.
And
Thousands of years. We're
in a financial religion that actually pays a reward, like for those who stick it out. Like, imagine if you were a little kid and you learned about Christianity, and oh, by the way, if you stick it out for 5 years, you're a millionaire. God gives you $1 million. You be like, oh my God, this is the best religion ever. This is the Bitcoin religion. It is that the world is using it as a kind of savings account. And when the BlackRocks and the the larger asset managers in the world, when they give it the stamp of approval, which they've done through these ETFs, pretty stupid to get in it's like, why would you fight that force?
Yeah, it's a product, by the way. When you think about ETFs, you think about like mutual funds, you think about the stock drip plans,
right.
like all those. I like to talk about that pretty often. It's like those were all packaged products, like a stock. And like an option contract goes back to like olive pressing. Like, I mean, these are products still at the end of the day.
It's a product, exactly. And it's a product that these big facilities can sell to Joe Sixpack, to the retail investors that have really had no exposure to these kinds of things before. And, BlackRock doesn't invest in products that they're going to sell to lose money.
Yes.
They kind of are kingmakers. And so when you see these big companies lining up to propagate, Bitcoin and to an extent Ethereum, it's pretty dumb to get in the way of that. So you just ride the wave.
Man, well, I'll tell you, this has been great. I want you to, how do our viewers follow up? How do they follow your journey? How do they follow your content? How do they connect? Why don't you look at the camera for that one?
Sure. So we do a show 6 days a week called Digital Investor. And you can go to nickblacknext.com and just check it out. And it's financial education in and around crypto assets and artificial intelligence, and where they all kind of merge. We have a belief that's where most of the money in the future will be made, is in that intersection between decentralized systems that are really good at moving data and artificial intelligent agent networks. And in the middle, there's a lot of very investable stuff. And so that's really what we focus on.
Fantastic. And for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll put all that information in the show notes, so the links, so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Nick, thanks again, man. Appreciate you
so much.